Hello, my name is Yannai Michael, and today we'll be talking about the Hundred Days period, part of the Napoleonic Wars. The Hundred Days period was towards the very end of the Napoleonic Wars, which lasted from March 20th of 1815 to July 8th of 1815. So before getting to the Hundred Days period, we should talk about the background and how we got here. And the perfect place to start into Napoleon's reign is right around during the French invasion of Russia. Now, Napoleon had proven to be a very successful campaigner. He conquered a lot of Europe. He dissolved the very great Holy Roman Empire. So, Napoleon was very ambitious and he felt very confident and he wanted to conquer all of Europe. So, he set for Russia. Now, when Napoleon went to invade Russia, the conditions were very unfavorable. It was winter time, and it was very brutal. So this is a map of Napoleon marching and his army marching to Moscow. And as you can see, the arrows get slightly smaller because the size of the army, of his army, is getting smaller. And this is due to because of the winter and starvation. So as the French were moving eastward, the Russian army uh, were withdrawing eastward, and every time they withdrew eastward, they would burn everything in their path, and this cut food supply, shelter. So the French army had a mixture of, fatigue, starvation, and by the time they got to Moscow, it was really not worth it because the whole army was basically dead. So they had to come all the way back, and as you can see, Napoleon barely had his army together. And when he was coming back to France, he was intercepted by the Sixth Coalition, the Prussians, the Great Britain, and even some of Napoleon's own people and his closest marshals and generals turned their backs because they realized that Napoleon was gonna. France was basically on a downfall, and these guys were, appointed to very high positions, and they didn't want to lose that, so they decided to help the enemy and turn their backs on Napoleon. So Napoleon was in a terrible spot, and when he was intercepted by the Sixth Coalition, he was defeated. And here's a Napoleon, the defeated Napoleon, and here he's forced to sign abdication papers, and he officially abdicates as emperor. So he's exiled to a small island called Elba, and he spends some time here in Elba, and he decides that he wants to go back to France and reclaim his throne from the newly installed Louis XVIII. So what happened was, after his abdication, the coalition powers installed a new Bourbon monarchy, and Louis XVIII was now the king of France, and he wanted to go back and reclaim everything he worked so hard for. So he gathered the people of Elba. He said, "You're going to help me make a boat, and we're going to go back to France." And that's exactly what he did. He came back to France. The people of France greeted him, and they were thrilled he was back, and they were excited. And Napoleon got to work, and this started the Hundred Days period because he was emperor for 100 days. And so this angered the coalition powers, including Great Britain and Prussia. So Great Britain made arrangements to send Arthur Wellesley, the first Duke of Wellington, to take down Napoleon, and the Prussians sent Gebhard von Blücher to team up with Arthur and take down Napoleon. So they, the coalition powers met Napoleon in Waterloo, town near Belgium, and they had a very intense battle, which lasted about 3 weeks. It was very hard fought, very close, but Napoleon was ultimately defeated here, and it was a very bloody battle. Napoleon was forced to withdraw back to France, and upon withdrawal, he was captured by the coalition powers, and this time they wanted to make sure that he never returns back. And doing so, they exiled him this time to an island in the South Atlantic, very, very far away from France, called St. Helena. It was very lonely, and Napoleon did end up here, and he never attempted to come back, but he spent 6 years in St. Helena before his death in 1821. And that was the end of the Napoleonic Wars and the end of the Hundred Days period. Thank you very much.